Have you ever thought to yourself, gee, I really love pageantry. I just wish it was more expensive. Me neither. If you're a pageant girl who's interested in setting up her own business, or maybe an app, or a non-for-profit, come and join our new Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/the pageant boss. And yes, the link will be in the description of this video below. We're going to be discussing all things pageantry, obviously, but also all things entrepreneurial. How to take an idea that you might have, and it could be a pageant idea, and turn it into a genuine profit-making business. Come and join us. It's free for now, and I'll see you there. Guys, I think we're live. So if you are watching, can you please let us know whether you can hear me and obviously Britt. So hello, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project. I'm looking up here now. It's a disaster already. And my special guest for today is Miss Earth Australia 2020, Brittany Dickson.
Hi there.
How are you doing, Brittany?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. We've just had some technical issues setting up.
No, we haven't.
No issues. But this is the first time that you've been interviewing in person for a very
long
time.
About 5,000 years. Ralph, you're watching. Ralph, can you let us know if you can hear us, please? Because I don't want to do an entire interview and have no audio. That would be rather a disaster. So Brittany has had a bit of an adventure. How's your day been so far?
My day's been okay. I ran fashionably late this morning to get here, but that's very rare for me. I'm normally a very timely queen. But yeah, it's been a lovely morning. It's surprisingly sunny and warm on this autumn day. So yeah, happy to be here.
Sounds about right. We'll look here. I keep looking at you here, but we'll just keep looking here. It's very, very awkward. Can you tell I haven't done this in person for a while? I can hear you and Brittany. Good. Ralph, if you have any questions, ask Brittany questions because it's too early in the morning for me and I have no questions at all. Let me just angle this down a little bit. So, Brittany, why don't we start with the easy question?
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved in the crazy world of pageantry to begin with?
Yeah, so I got involved in pageantry as a young girl. Like, I always grew up watching things like Miss Universe on TV and like seeing movies like Miss Congeniality, which everyone knows about. And, you know, I was really interested in that, and I watched Next Top Model and thought that was really interesting as well. But I thought modelling didn't really have enough substance to it, whereas pageants, you know, you had a voice and you could do something. But in the pageants I was watching at the time, I'd often see all these like really cringy moments, and like, the question about the maps, that stuck with me. And I knew that I was an intelligent person, and I felt like I could bring something and make a difference by joining pageants. And I found one that really resonated with me, and that was Miss Earth. I did dabble around in a couple of things before Miss Earth, but yeah, once I got into that, that was where my heart was, and I stuck with it ever since.
How long ago was this when you first got into it?
The first time I competed was 2017. So yeah, I did it then, and then I competed again in 2019, and then again in 2020.
Right. So, I mean, it might be a bit early to ask you this, but do you have any plans, pageant plans after this, or are you now, as I like to call it, a has queen? Are you now officially a has queen, or are you thinking about maybe doing something else in the future?
Look, I don't think I would do a different pageant, but I'm hoping maybe that since Miss Earth 2020 was virtual, that I might have an opportunity to compete again in the future. But you know, we don't know for the moment, but my heart is with Miss Earth. It's where I feel like I can make the most difference and actually further my career as well. So that's what I would stick to if I continue with pageants.
That's fair enough. Are you able to move your chair a little bit closer?
Yeah.
This is what happens when we go live. There's actually a plane above there.
Yes.
What's happened here? This is why I don't do in-person interviews anymore.
No more in-person interviews.
I'm just going to disappear and Brittany can talk to you by herself. Ralph here has said, hello, Brittany. It's great seeing you.
Hi, Ralph.
Guys, if you have... Sorry, I'm just speaking over Brittany.
That's okay. You're the host. I shouldn't do that. Hey, Ralph. It's really lovely to see you. I hope you're doing well and I hope your family's going well too.
Guys, if you have any questions for Brittany, if you haven't watched my interviews before, firstly, I'm more organised than this usually. I'm just not used to doing anything in person anymore. And secondly, if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I can pass them on to Brittany. Oh, it's saying the mic is muted. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know which one it is.
It's probably this one. It's okay. All right. So, Brittany, so you've been in pageants for about 4 years. Why don't you tell everyone how you found the whole... I mean, you won the crown that you were passionate about. Mm-hmm. It was under unusual circumstances because 2020 was unusual for everyone. So what has your reign been like so far? Because I'm sure it wasn't probably what you envisaged when you first entered pageantry, everything being virtual, no one seeing anyone.
Yeah. It was a really unique and different experience, honestly. So we had to create all these videos on our own, and we had to film in very public spaces because we wanted to showcase the beauty of our own unique countries. And that was really funny and interesting because no one was expecting a pageant queen to be walking around, the Opera House or the Australian Museum or places like that. And yeah, you would have people approaching you and getting in the shot, which made it really challenging. But yeah, it was unique, and I was really upset that I couldn't connect with the girls on a more physical level. But we did make really good friends all virtually, and I'm hoping that we all get a chance to meet each other in the future.
What was it? So you shot in front of the... I saw some shots in front of the Opera House.
Yeah.
What was it like? Because I've actually helped some pageant girls shoot in front of the Opera House, and it is quite interesting because you have everyone coming up. Do you remember any particularly awkward moments or lovely moments when you were doing that?
Yeah, so when we were filming My Talent, we had, obviously I was dancing, and there was people that were just onlooking as a group, and people just applauded at the end of every time I did the take, and we had to do it over and over again. So yeah, and I'm not the best dancer, but yeah, it was just pretty surreal to have people just applauding. And I'm like, thanks guys, this is great.
I mean, have you had the conversation when they come up to you and they go, what's the crown, what's the sash, and you got to explain it to them? Because that's normally, when I've been out with pageant queens in Australia, it's always like, why are you wearing the crown, what's the sash, what's this all about? So have you had to do that explanation?
Yeah, I've definitely had to do the explanation before, and it's pretty funny because most people in Australia aren't that tuned into pageants. Yeah. They don't know what any of it is. You're just Miss Australia. That's the only thing that they will think of. They don't know that there's different systems and different reigns and titles that are out there. But once you explain and you can say, this one actually has a cause and it's not just about beauty, it's a lot less superficial than that, even though there still is that element. You're using that beauty to spread a message, and yeah, people really resonate with it and get really excited and want to take pictures and say, they'll still forget everything you said and they'll say, oh, I've got a photo with Miss Australia. I'm like, yes, Miss Australia, that's me. But yeah, it's funny.
That's fair enough. What have you enjoyed? So what's been the favourite part of your reign so far, given again that it's been really unusual circumstances and a lot of it has been virtual? What's been your favourite part of it, and I guess maybe what's been the most challenging part of it as well?
Yeah, look, the favourite part is always connecting with the fans and the people that are supporting me, well, especially online because we didn't have that in-person thing. Yeah. But my inbox and messages are always flooded, and I feel terribly guilty because I can't reply to everyone all the time. But I do
so popular.
I do my best, and yeah, if anyone has any problems or is going through hard times, I try to offer my support and be as personable a queen as possible. And yeah, that's honestly the greatest thing for me because I'm not just a beauty queen, I'm a person, and I like to make the world a better place and make people's lives a bit brighter. But yeah, that's been the best part for me. As for most challenging, look, I'm someone that really likes to get my hands dirty. And especially with Miss Earth, you can think of gardening and tree plantings and things like that, which I've been able to do a bit of, but I think the without the pandemic and COVID-19, the chances and opportunities for that would be a lot greater.
Yeah.
And having all those planned trips when you do go overseas to compete would have been incredible. But yeah, I'm trying to do as much as I can on my own, and I'm really excited that actually for my job, because I work in conservation, I will be going out into the field in 2 weeks' time, and I'll be trooping around national parks with another employee, and we'll be like installing camera traps to monitor wildlife, which is super exciting.
Which parks? What areas?
So this project is called Wild Count, and it spans over most of eastern New South Wales. I think I'll be going down south. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going yet, but possibly Dewar National Park. That's the only one I've heard, but you pretty much make it up as you go because things change and weather conditions. And yeah.
It sounds exciting. I mean, it also sounds like it could be quite cold.
Yeah, it'll probably be cold.
And by the way, for us Aussies, cold is anything that's like under 20 degrees. We start freezing to death. I have to say this because a lot of UK and Canadians, and they're like, oh, 20, it's a heat wave. And I'm like, 20, it's so cold.
Yes.
Are you a summer person or winter? Summer, okay, yeah.
Definitely summer. I love the beach. If I can be in the water, that's where I feel most comfortable.
Okay, all right. So I'm assuming you're going to be rugged up then when you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah, although we'll be walking like tens of kilometers a day, so I'll probably get pretty hot quickly. And it will really test my fitness because I have not been doing much working from home. I've started walking 5Ks a day over the past couple of weeks just to prepare myself a bit, but I don't think anything will prepare me for
5Ks is quite a long walk.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but yeah, I've got to factor in the terrain for this. It's like there'll be rocks and things that you've got to jump over.
Well, there's a hill right there, so I mean, if you want to, get some
there.
cardio in, and whilst we're in the middle of the interview,
just hand the camera over.
We should have done a walking interview. We could have walked and talked at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you know, is it Saudi? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but Saudi said one of the most dedicated Earth warriors. Loving this queen.
Oh, thank you, Saudi. I don't think we've spoken before, but feel free to hit me up in my messages. We can chat.
Just looking at your profile photo.
Yeah.
Guys, sorry about the noise. That's if you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. There's a helicopter. We're actually at Sydney Olympic Park at the moment, which was home of the Sydney 2000 Olympics. And normally there's a few planes that go across, but given the pandemic, it's actually quite unusual to hear. I'm not used to hearing planes overhead anymore. Speaking of getting your hands dirty, you were telling me before we went live that you had a secret to when a bird poops in your hair. So, and I'm just saying this because I was originally going to set up our interview. You can see the trees over there. I thought, it'd be really nice with the tree background and things like that. But there's a lot of lorikeets there. And I actually said this in one of the podcasts before. Australian birds are really loud. Like cockatoos and lorikeets and kookaburras, they're horrible. So do you want to tell the lovely people watching what the secret is to getting poop out of your hair? Because we've all been there.
Well, I'll start by saying our birds aren't horrible. They are beautiful and amazing, no matter how loud they are or how terrible their poop is.
It's just not great for interviews when you've got a cockatoo screaming and people think it's a drag.
Yeah, well, when I did all the home interviews, I had to set up upstairs and like cover all my birds up because they would scream all day. As soon as they know I'm doing something important, they'll scream. But yeah, secret for getting bird poop out of your hair. If it's a fairly solidish poop, not like a lorikeet one. This is a very queenly chat. Secret is not to like squish it in or like try to rub it out. You would have to use whatever you're using, like a tissue, and like roll it out, and then maybe dab a bit of water in your hair to make sure it's all clean. But yeah, don't squish it in.
Is there any secret for when it kind of poops on your front, like you just get it on your clothes? Because that's what happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I would probably say again the rolling technique.
Okay.
But like, yeah, it's kind of like you've got to flick it off, but not rub it in.
Handy tips from Miss Earth Australia, right here. I don't know how you do it, because I've seen some people that have birds as pets, and I'm always just worried that do they fly around the? So you got a cockatiel.
He passed away.
Oh.
I've got an Alexandrine parrot at the moment and 2 budgies.
So you got a little fleet of birds.
Yes, a little flock.
Can you command them and get them to like attack people and?
Not these ones, although the Alexandrine, her name is Greenie. She's generally pretty aggressive most of the time anyway. But yeah, I've got a little cut on my finger here from where she's bit me. I think it's getting infected. But yeah, you could probably train her to attack, and Charlie would have done anything. So he was my cockatiel. He would have done anything I asked him to do. He was a very good bird. But, yeah.
And do they fly around all the time, or do you have them in a cage? Are they on a perch? Like, what's it like actually? I mean, I've never had a pet bird.
So my budgies are very only bird people. They don't like anyone handling them. So they're in a very large cage, and they can fly around in their cage, which is a bit sad, but that's just how they've always been. And they started out as rescue birds anyway. So I did try to train, but they were just happy with each other. So we've left them alone. The Alexandrine parrot is also a rescue parrot, but she, as I said, she can be aggressive, but she does like to come out and does like to fly. So when I'm home, I often do just keep her cage open. That is her safe space. So she'll go there if she wants to sleep, or if she wants to rest, or if she just wants to get away from people. But yeah, she can fly around as much as she likes. We don't clip their wings or anything like that. So.
And when you say rescue birds, is that the same story as with like rescue cats and rescue dogs? So these are ones that have been sort of discarded and people don't want them, and unless someone adopts them, they get put down?
Not in this instance. So these are ones that I've found in the wild that might be getting attacked by other birds, and then I've held on to them trying to find their owners, like advertising on Facebook and social media, putting up signs and flyers and things like that, but then no one comes to claim them. So they've ended up staying with me, and I fall very in love with them.
Does that mean
Always
that you're
don't shop.
You're going to absolutely? Does that mean you're going to have a slowly growing collection of birds?
Yeah, it tends to happen. So I'm trying to think, what have I rescued over the time? I've had a turtle dove before. I've had lorikeets. My cockatiel was a rescue bird. Budgies were rescue budgies. Alexandrine was a rescue parrot. I've had another kind of dove. Yeah, other than that, I think that's the only bird species I've had. I've found a mouse, a rat, a white rat. We rescued a rat.
You rescued a rat?
Yes. He was very obviously a pet rat that had escaped from somewhere. So
How does he look like a pet rat?
So when you see rats, they're normally like that black or brown colour.
Yeah, most people, especially girls, will run. I probably also would run, but you saved it.
Yeah, he was white, and like he was so obvious, like he would get picked off in an instant if he was a wild rat. So I was like, we need to save him. So we did.
So I'm imagining that if you saved a whole bunch of birds, that you don't have cats.
I have had a cat.
You didn't have the cats and the birds the cat and the birds at the same time, though, I'm assuming.
We did.
You did?
Yeah.
The cat didn't?
No, she was a very chill cat, but she wasn't mine to start with. So my neighbour, they ended up moving overseas, and this cat couldn't go with them. One of their cats could go because it was a certain breed, but this breed wasn't allowed in Spain. So, yeah, she stayed with us, Missy. She was a beautiful cat. She lived to a very old age, and she looked horrible at the end. But she,
lovely.
If you think of Pet Cemetery, she looked like she was straight out of that. But she was so sweet and just so gentle all the time. Beautiful. But yeah, she was pretty chill with the birds. And when we had a dog as well, although the neighbours still lived there, she would sit with the dog and like put her paw on his leash to say, "You stay with me." So they were friends.
Let's answer Ralph's question here. So it says, Brittany, once this pandemic is over, which country would you like to travel to?
Well, definitely I need to go to the Philippines because that's where most of my followers and my fans are from. And there's some stunning places that I need to go see in the Philippines, like all of the islands, and get to experience the wildlife over there. And yeah, I think it would be incredible, and I'd be so excited to meet everyone that's followed me and supported me so far.
Fingers crossed we can actually travel again soon. I think Australia, we might be one of the last ones allowed to travel anywhere. Miss Universe is coming up. I don't even know if our Miss Universe Australia candidate is actually able to travel. I know the Miss Universe UK just left for overseas yesterday, and Miss Universe Ireland is also trying to sort that out. But hopefully everyone gets vaccinated and we can go back to normal soon. Ralph has asked me a question. Adrian, what inspired you to become a pageant coach, and what inspired you to start following the different pageants? Well, I've only just recently publicly announced, Ralph, that so I'm looking down, looking at your question. I'll look up here. I've only recently publicly announced that I'm doing coaching. I was getting asked to do it a lot before, even though I didn't say I ever did. He would just assume that I did. So I thought I might as well do it properly. And then what inspired me to start following the different pageants? I was interviewing a whole bunch of different women before, and one of them happened to be a pageant queen, Tasha Ross. And then I found out about pageants, went to her fundraiser, and then it was kind of like you get to know one pageant girl, and then it's like a virus. Like you get to know Brittany, then she'll introduce you to two more queens, who will then introduce you to two more, to two more, to two more, to two more, and then before you know it, you are infected with the pageant bug, which is a lot more virulent.
You got this?
Virulent. Why can't I say that?
Virulent?
That it's a. I mean, you got the pageant bug, right?
Yeah, I did, but it was because I had a cause I was passionate and dedicated to.
Yeah, I just like talking to people, Ralph. Honestly, so virulent. Why can't I say that word all of a sudden?
It's not an easy word.
It is. I just can't say it
Virulent.
because I'm live and I need to say it. I can't do it. Now, you've obviously been fairly public about being a brain cancer survivor, and that has been. I don't know if it's been. I don't think would you call it a focus of your advocacy, because obviously you're super passionate about nature, but then a large part of your life is, I'm assuming, has been dealing with that, especially at such a young age. So in terms of that aspect of your life, how much did you sort of want to bring that into your advocacy and who you're about versus the nature side? Because obviously they're both important to you.
Yeah, so honestly, I kind of wanted to avoid it as much as possible because I didn't want it to take away from what was driving me to do the pageant in the first place, because I joined before I got brain cancer.
Yeah.
But it's something that everyone really wants to know about and people are inspired by it, and there's still people that need help with that, and I couldn't ignore it, so I definitely embraced it and tried to take it in as much as possible and push that message out there that if you come across a challenge in life, there's always a way to overcome it and turn it into something positive. But yeah, it wasn't originally something I wanted to focus on so much, but it's a part of me, so I can't deny it. And yeah, I'm glad I've been able to achieve some amazing things to support brain cancer research and awareness.
Yeah, I can certainly understand not wanting it to be sort of the sole focus of every time you ask the question. And I know this is a silly question to ask, but when you get news like that at such a young age or any age, I mean, how do you deal with it? Because I think for a lot of people would just, I mean, that's the end of the world, right? And you've not only survived it, but you've gone on to achieve a lot despite it and after it. So what's the emotional journey been like for you, sort of from when you got that news to now?
Look, I didn't let myself feel sad for myself for more than a couple of seconds, to be honest, because that just affects the vibe around you and the way people treat you, and I just wanted life to be normal. So first thing I did was look for a way to spin it into something positive, and the way I did that was by teaming up with the Cure Brain Cancer Foundation, who had the Walk for Brain Cancer. And in that first year, which was while I was going through radiotherapy treatment, we raised over $10,000, and I've joined that walk every year since. And whilst I haven't reached amounts of that significance, we've raised a couple $1,000s each year going forward. So yeah, that's something that helped me deal with it. I don't think if I had that cause behind me, I think I would have shut down a little bit more. But yeah, and being able to offer my experience and how I cope with things to other people seems to have helped as well, because when I talk to people that they follow and they do the same thing, so there's probably been 2 or 3 people that have reached out with their diagnosis to me, and I'm like, might you join the Walk for Brain Cancer? And it's just that ripple effect. So.
Are there, I mean, for example, breast cancer awareness is a huge thing, and a lot of the time they have campaigns where they tell you basically the symptoms, like how to self-check and things like that. So just on the off chance that someone is having some sort of weird symptoms, is there any way anything that you feel, any sort of symptoms where you would say, okay, you should go and get checked, versus just, for example, having a headache or something like that?
Yeah, look, it's very hard to tell. Mine was all of a sudden. Like, I was coming home from work and I had a seizure on a bus, and I woke up and I was in an ambulance. So obviously they scanned me straight away, and I had no symptoms beforehand. So it's very hard to kind of look out for signs, but I guess persistent headaches that the doctor can't seem to find a cause for, or if you do have seizures, like if you're epileptic and the seizure pattern changes or something, you could look into that. I've always had really shaky hands. I don't know if that could be linked to it, because they said I could have had the treatment since I was born, or it could have grown suddenly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything specific to look out for, but just be careful, look after yourself, take care of your brain. Mental health is important too.
Definitely. What sort of, God, it seems like such a overarching huge question, but in terms of future plans, like say, because 2020 threw everyone for a loop, but in terms of, let's say, a year ahead, 2 years ahead, 5 years ahead, what sort of big plans do you have for your life, what you'd like to achieve, sort of pageantry and otherwise?
Yeah, so I'm very career focused, and as we all know, I'm really dedicated to the earth kind of cause, and I work in conservation. My role at the moment is primarily office based, and I do like a lot of interactions that are kind of behind the scenes. My goal is to get out into the field and to directly be hands-on working with animals to save those species, and look, I think I can get there. It's a very competitive industry, but I work hard, and like I've gone through the span of like I don't know how many promotions in such a short time in the role that I've been in, so I'm looking forward to that, and fingers crossed. I'm in a very supportive environment, and other than that, I just want to be happy, and I don't really care about buying a house. Like, money is not a big deal to me. I'd be happy living in a little hippie van and traveling across Australia, and like, yeah, that would be a
That's so
dream to
funny
me.
you mentioned that, because I've been looking into entrepreneurship, specifically for pageant queens, and one of the people that I look up to and found, and my podcast co-host put me onto him, and his name is also Adrian. He lives in a van.
Yeah.
He makes millions of dollars through various things, and he has $1 million lifestyle, but he lives in a van, and he just goes around traveling with his wife and having amazing adventures. So he'll take his van, park it by the beach, and so when he opens up his curtains, he's got a view of the beach. So he's not putting any money into the typical house and expensive car.
Yeah.
And he's just going around helping people.
Yeah, it's all about freedom and getting those real life experiences and opportunities, and I think that would be incredible. So that's actually probably a goal, to live in a van and
van life.
do what I want to do.
It's a real thing. I think it's a hashtag van life. If you look it up, and the guy's name, by the way, is Adrian Brambilla. And it's really funny because he writes his emails exactly the same way I do. So it's very confusing when I get an email from him, because it's like, have I just emailed myself? Because he literally signs it off the same way I do. One question I haven't asked you, how did you get involved in nature? Where did the love of nature begin for you? Was it like right from the start? Or was there a certain, like, I'm not good at gardening, okay? And I've not told this story before. The reason I don't like gardening is because the first time I did it, I was helping my mum weed our front lawn, and I had one of those little forks that you dig weeds up, and the dirt flipped up, and the dirt landed on my hand, and then right on my hand was a leech. Now, I'm okay with spiders, but things that are slimy and squidgy, and leeches look
suck
like
your blood.
Yeah, and it looks like hard. And it's like, have you ever seen a leech? And it moves like this. You're looking the way I'm miming being a leech. I hate leeches. I don't know why they exist. And ever since then, I've just been terrified of putting my hands anywhere where I can't see. So for you, you love nature. You love getting your hands dirty. Where did that love start from?
Yeah, look, I think it was something right from the get-go. My parents raised me around like lots of wildlife and gave me really amazing opportunities that I'm so grateful for. When we would go on holiday every year down the south coast, there would be dolphins and like little penguins that would be in the surf. And like I would be that kid, even though I was like, this big, I'd be swimming out trying to get to see them. And like we'd go camping and there'd be kangaroos around. And I remember I had a sausage once, and the kangaroo wanted that sausage, So it was a terrifying experience, but I ran away from that kangaroo and it chased me. And obviously a kangaroo is a lot faster than little Brittany, who was pudgy and slow. But yeah, I wanted that hot dog. But yeah, it was just a memory. And even though it was scary, like it was nature, and I just, it's so memorable. So that stuck with me. Birds as well, like we'd be camping again, and like you just put a little bit of seed or whatever on your hand and you'd be surrounded by lorikeets, and yeah, so I don't know, I just really resonated with that and connect with it. And
Kangaroos eat sausages?
when they're really humanized, so it's a very bad thing. Don't give your sausages to kangaroos.
So you're going to scare anyone from us who wants to come to Australia after the pandemic going, oh my God, kangaroos are carnivorous, run for your life. I didn't know they eat meat.
I think just when they've been so habituated to be around humans, then weird things can happen.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just a surreal kind of thing. But they shouldn't be eating it. So don't offer it to them. Don't feed them. Don't feed wildlife. Don't recommend it.
Well, I mean, that's a really important one because a lot of people see the cute animals and they want to feed them. So why, and you often see signs saying don't feed the wildlife. And people look at that and go, oh, that's kind of like ruining my fun. Because that's what you want to do. For the gram, you get the photo. Yeah, so why is it important that people don't actually feed the wildlife?
Yeah, so Australian wildlife in particular have really specific and unique dietary requirements and nutritional needs. And most of the time, what we have available to us and give them doesn't fit those needs and can actually make them really sick. And also you get that issue of human habituation. So they get so used to humans being there that if for some reason we're not there, like there's a pandemic and we all have to stay home, then they have to find their own food, and that would be a struggle. I think I saw a video, I can't remember which Asian country, maybe Thailand or Indonesia, and it was during the pandemic, and I think there was one banana out, and like about 1,000 monkeys all ran to this one banana. It was pretty devastating, and like they were fighting, and just because they were after that little bit of food.
Yeah.
Because the tourists went there. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In terms of how much you know about animals, I mean, I'm going to assume you know a lot more than me, but that's not saying much. What's sort of the weirdest, some of the weird facts, let's say, you know about Australian animals that maybe people would be surprised to hear? Like, I mean, I'm surprised to hear that kangaroos wanted to eat a sausage, but now you're telling me that's not normal and not to do that. So I was like, okay. But what are the other like weird facts that you know?
Well, look, I don't have too many like fun facts. Wombats' poos are cube-shaped. I don't really know why. I'm not really sure why. There is some research into it. I don't think it's super valuable, but that's cube-shaped wombat poos. What else? There's been some recent images of wombats on camera tracks that they don't have any ears for some reason. So I don't know what's going on, and it's not like they've been chopped off. It's like they were born that way, and it's becoming more common. So I don't know whether they're evolving for some reason, but it's just a weird mutation that's new and popping up.
Earless wombats.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have some of the most diverse marine life, marine mammals and things like that in Australia. It's incredible. I've worked with Port Jackson sharks, which are super cute. They're like the puppy dog shark of the sea. And you can just basically swim right up to them. They live on the bottom of the seafloor, and you can pick them up and like take them to the top. It might thrash around a little bit.
Yeah, we're not talking about great white.
Not a great white.
Great white, yeah. People, when you say sharks, people are going to be like thinking Jaws, and you're out there patting it.
Yeah,
these are completely different
sharks.
sharks.
On my Instagram, you'll see a picture of me holding one. They're very cute. What else?
That's a fair few.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was told wombats have armored bottoms. Is that true? So when they go they go headfirst into their burrows, and all that's hanging out is their armored bottom, so that the predators can't get at them.
I don't know about armored, but they are extremely muscular. So, yeah, I think
well developed.
They could take you down and they can run surprisingly fast too. So if they ran into you, they'd knock you off your feet.
Yeah, I've heard that because my parents went somewhere where there were wombats, and someone got bowled over by one because it just went trundling over. Yeah. Apparently they weighed about like 40 kilos or something.
Something like that. Yeah, but little. Well, they're not little, but like something I can't get in the frame. Like this wide, maybe. I don't know. They weigh a lot. But yeah, what else? So there's a lot of research going into how we can combat cane toads, which are an invasive species in Australia. And there's work where they've been feeding sausages again, mixed with like bits of cane toad in them to small mammals like quolls, and they develop they're like, oh, that
hunger for cane toad meat.
No, it actually makes them feel sick.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I'm not going to eat that again.
Yeah.
And then that means they won't eat the cane toads, and when they eat the cane toads, they get poisoned and die. So it's like negative training. So yeah, taste aversion. There we go.
What can we do about cane toads? For those of you who don't know, cane toads are, well, as Britt said, an invasive species. Oh, look at that, low power mode. And they're poisonous, so they're very dangerous for our local wildlife. Is there anything that we can do about the cane toads?
There's lots of apps at the moment, so technology and nature. You can report sightings of cane toads through those apps. I think one is called Frog ID, and it's run by the Australian Museum. That way, if you are seeing a cane toad in a potentially new area that it might not have been before.
Because they've been migrating south, haven't they?
Yeah. South, but all directions, kind of.
Right.
But yeah, so you can report that and people can get onto it straight away. I think it's cruel to kill them the way some people do.
I've seen
Golf
some
clubs,
horrible. Yeah, that's the one that came straight to mind. Is people playing.
Microwaves.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
Don't do that. I think the most humane thing that you can do, if you see tadpoles, they're quite distinguishable if you look up a picture of cane toad tadpoles versus other tadpoles. No, sorry, not tadpoles, eggs. Look up a picture of cane toad eggs. You can take them out of the water and dry them out, and then they won't be born. Other than that, if you do find one, I think the most humane thing at the moment is to put it in a fridge for a while and then move it to a freezer, and then eventually they'll put it to sleep and you can take it out. Yeah, so it's not very positive talk, but that's probably the best we can do for the moment, and there is a lot of ongoing research into different pheromone chemicals that you can release in the water that disorientate them, and then they don't develop and become cane toads, so they can't spread. But yes, there's a lot, but it's all in the works.
There you go. All right, now I just got a low power warning because I have an iPhone which doesn't have a battery in it, apparently. So we're going to go through the 10 questions, final 10, and we'll zip through them just in case my phone decides to die. Okay?
Let's do it.
So, speed round. What is your favourite word?
Passion.
Least favourite word?
Everyone says it, moist.
Most popular answer ever. In life, what gets you excited or what turns you on?
Turns me on.
In life, what gets you... Yeah, I used to just say what turns you on. People are like,
in life,
what gets you excited?
Nature.
Okay, what turns you off?
Negativity.
What sound or noise do you love?
Birds.
Agree to disagree on that one. What sound or noise do you hate?
The dial tone noise, like the old modems. Dial up.
Showing your age there.
Yes, old.
I can't talk about it. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Superpower, speak to animals.
Of course. What's one job you would like to attempt other than your own?
That's a hard one. I love my job. I'd like to work with something like elephants. So it's similar to my job, but different area.
Yep. What's one job you would definitely not like to attempt?
Teaching.
Why?
I'm not good at, I like children, but I'm not good with a lot of children and all noise. I'm not good with a lot of noise and a lot of franticness.
I can understand that.
Except birds. Birds are okay.
Okay, birds good, children not so much. All right, final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. You did good.
That's a very down-to-earth, typically Aussie answer.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to ask you. Have you come up with a slogan?
Have I come up with a slogan?
I was going to start the interview with this. No, I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
So, Brittany, you're Miss Earth Australia. If you would have one slogan to represent your reign, what would it be?
Speak for those who don't have a voice. I've had a little bit of time to think about that.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how you can come up with an answer to that on the spot. That would be a very, very tricky question.
Yeah.
But look, before the phone dies,
They're chasing the ibis. They're chasing bin
the
chickens.
ibises, yeah, bin chickens. They're not the most attractive of birds. But look, Brittany, thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thank you so much.
No worries, very Australian, very, very Australian setting. And thank you to everyone for watching. If you see kids in the background taking each other's eyes out, I don't condone that, but I can't do anything about it. This is what happens when you interview in
Their
person.
parents are slowly following behind now.
It's Saturday. You got to give them a day off. Rafa said it was a pleasure hanging out with you both. Hope to visit Australia one day and hope to meet you both.
Yeah.
Hope
It'll
to see you
happen.
soon. Yeah, well, hopefully we can travel again soon. So thanks to everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay, and we will speak to you again very, very soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder to you entrepreneurial types to come and join us at our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the pageant boss. I'll see you inside and see you in the next episode.